434 West Reno here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. When you visit Mathis Brothers, be sure and tell them you heard it on the Clara Luper radio show. Today's show is being dedicated to you out in Radio Land. The first part of my show today at 2:30, I dedicated to my program to Mrs. Opaline Watkins, and I will have the opportunity to talk to her within a few minutes. Funeral services were held this morning at 11 o'clock for Christopher James Curtis, a young man who was killed in an automobile accident last week. The services were conducted by Elder Howard Huggins, who gave the eulogy. Precious Lord was sung by Don Curtis. Reverend J. Bradford read the scripture and the prayer. Christopher James Curtis, the son of Irene Curtis and Hugh Pickett Jr., was born in Oklahoma City on July 10, 1953. He attended and graduated from Douglas High School in 1971. He lived in Santa Barbara, California. He was a cook by trade. And certainly the family would like to say thanks to many of the friends out in Radio Land for their expression of love, help, and sympathy extended to them, and would like to wish each person that remembered them their happy, successful year. Thank you. That's on behalf of Christopher James Curtis's family. Martin Luther King inspired a new quest for freedom long-awaited minorities. Through his nonviolent resistance and through his passionate speaking ability, through his dedicated leadership, he was able to elevate the struggle for civil rights to the forefront that it deserved on the national agenda. Let history record his deeds. Let historians write, there lived a man named Martin Luther King. And as we prepare now to celebrate his birthday, with celebrations being taken all over this country, at Tinker Field, you are invited to be a part of the celebration, and that celebration will be at 11 o'clock there in the center. In Oklahoma City, you are invited to be a part, and on the 15th, Senator E. Melvin Porter will deliver an address, and it's going to be a challenging address. He will be introduced by the president of Langston University, and special music will be rendered by the choir from the Church of the Living God and John Marshall's High School Gospel Choir. You are invited to be present. That address, 555 East Wilshire Boulevard in Oklahoma City. I want you to be there by 7:15 because the devotional services will start at 7:20. Now, the Temple 290 Pastoral Choir will sing. And once again, I want to remind you that the John Marshall High School Gospel Choir will sing. And I want you to hear it because that choir is under the direction of one of the most brilliant young ladies in this state, and I'll be telling you more about her. Once again, the NACP invites all churches to share this time. Now, Leslie Brown is the president of the NACP, and Connie Johnson is the secretary. Today, I talked about Opaline Watkins. And certainly, I was proud to talk about Opaline because she has made history in this nation. A very beautiful, dedicated person. And I want you to share some minutes with me in the life of Mrs. Opaline Watkins. Mrs. Watkins?
Yes, Mrs. Luper.
How are you today?
I'm doing nicely, thank you. How are you?
I am fine today, and I'm so happy to have you as my very distinguished guest on the Clara Luper 515 special.
Well, thank you.
I know that you grew up in a segregated society. I knew that you used to sing that song, We Shall Overcome, and you have overcome many obstacles in your life, and you have succeeded. But tonight, I want you to tell me, how was it for a person in your profession during the days of segregation? For example, you were a nurse. How did you operate as a black nurse before the days of Martin Luther King?
Well, before the days of Martin Luther King, we had to really attend black schools only. But after Martin Luther King's coming into being, well, we had an opportunity to go to the desegregated schools. We had to go out of the state to get nursing.
Okay, now you went out of the state to get nursing, but when you came back and you were hired as a nurse, I'm sure you were treated like other nurses. I'm sure you could work on any floor.
Well, when I came back, especially in the public health field, I did work with the other nurses, but we didn't receive the same salary that they received at that time. We received less money and did the same type of work.
Mrs. Watkins, are you saying that once upon a time in America, the nurses, black nurses, received different salaries from white nurses?
Yes, we did.
And you worked the same amount of hours?
Same amount of hours and the same type of work.
Now, as a nurse, I know you've had different kinds of experiences. Have you ever really, as a nurse, as an individual nurse, been segregated against in a special way?
Well, the most special way that I would consider when I gave birth to both of my children, I had a black doctor for my physician, and they would not let either one of us be in the hospital. I could not go in the hospital as a patient of his, so I had to deliver in the home.
You couldn't deliver your babies in the hospital?
Not unless I had a white physician.
Oh, I see. So then we had discrimination against the doctors. If you were black, you would have to deliver your babies where?
In the hospital by a medical student.
Isn't that something? All right, now, in spite of the obstacles that you have overcome, when you retired, you held what position at Veterans Hospital?
Well, I was head nurse of the outpatient department at Veterans Hospital.
You've come a long ways in your profession, haven't you?
Yes, I have, by the grace of God.
Okay, you say by the grace of God. Do you believe that you could have made it without God?
No, I really could not.
Why?
Well, there were many obstacles that I came up against, and I had to pray over it and ask God to give me the guidance, and he did so. And that really brought about a better quality of relationship with the white groups.
Mrs. Watkins, it's been very kind for you to take off from your busy schedule this evening to be a part of the Clara Luper 515 special.
Thank you very much, Miss Luper.
And thank you for visiting with me.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
This is a 515 Clara Luper special, and I'm looking forward to hearing from my special reporter today, Cecil L. Williams. Cecil L. Williams has a show here on KBYE every day from 4:15 to 5:15. As we celebrate Martin Luther King's birthday, I want each one of you to remember that it should be a day of dedication, in which each person will dedicate themselves to the unfinished task of finishing the dream. We can talk all we want to, we can march all we want to, but until we work, and certainly that's part of it, talking, walking, giving, making personal sacrifices, that's part of it, we will not achieve our goal. And I want you to join me as we look at some areas in our own state as to where we are. Now, I want to talk to the state president of NACP, because Clara Luper has been criticized, because I have stated publicly that in Oklahoma City, we are running behind most of the other states that I've seen as far as black employment. And today I would like to ask the state president of the NACP some questions. He's on the governor's commission. He has an opportunity to talk with the governor. And I want to see if, as we celebrate the birthday of Martin Luther King, and as we talk about living a dream, I want to see how far the dream has come along in Oklahoma. Now, in order to do that, I've got to talk to the state president of the NACP. I want to ask the state president of the NACP exactly where we are. I want to see if it's true, if the statement that Clara Luper has made, and when I make a statement, I've already done some research. I do not go out and make statements without having the proper information. So in seeking for that information today, I would like to ask some questions. Everybody's talking about Martin Luther King. Oh, if Martin Luther King was here, what would I do? Well, there are many people out in radio land that didn't do anything when Martin Luther King was here. Martin Luther King's dream. What was a dream all about? Certainly the dream was wrapped up in economic security, because unless a person has a job, unless a person has hope of getting a job, the dream becomes a nightmare. Therefore, I would like to ask, as we look at the state of Oklahoma, as we brag about the fact that we have a commission, we brag about the Martin Luther King holiday, but let us look and see what we would like to see achieved during that holiday. How many of you know how many blacks we have with the State Board of Public Affairs? How many of you know how many blacks we have on the State Bank Commission? How many blacks do we have on the Beef Commission? How many blacks do we have on the Board of Governors of Licensed Architects? Excuse me. How many black judges do we have? Well, for answers, I have Dr. Walker here. Dr. Walker, how far do you think we are in state government?
Well, Ms. Luper, just to be factual, I would not be in a position to give facts and figures. And as you know, when we make projections such as this, we must be accurate. I am not in a position to tell you how far we are, but I, too, am very anxious to hear from our NAACP president or someone in authority who may be able to share this enlightening information with us.
I need to know how many blacks we have on the Board of Regents for Oklahoma State University and A&M colleges. Tell me we just have one. I want to know how many blacks do we have on the Board of Regents of Oklahoma colleges. I want to know how many blacks do we have in important positions in the Bureau of Investigation. How many blacks do we have in the Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drug Control? How many blacks do we have in Central Purchasing? How many do we have on the Children and Youth Commission? I'm talking about those people that are on salary. How many blacks do we have on salaries with the Corporation Commission that controls our utilities, in which we are drowning financially in? Yes, it's Martin Luther King's dream, and that is not a narrow dream. It's a dream of blacks being on the Court of Criminal Appeals. How many do we have in the state of Oklahoma? It's a dream of blacks being district attorneys. How many do we have in the state of Oklahoma? It's a dream of blacks being in an executive position or in the driver's license stations. It's a dream of blacks being in positions in the highway department and a large number of blacks as highway patrol. How is a dream coming along in Oklahoma? Are we saying living the dream, or are we losing the dream? How many blacks do we have in administrative positions in our teaching hospitals? How many blacks do we have on the parole review board? How many blacks do we have in Oklahoma City or in the state of Oklahoma? How many do we have in important positions? How many blacks are on salary with the Oklahoma Historical Society? These are the questions that we want to know. We want to know about the blacks in Oklahoma, so we can see if we are living the dream or we're just hypocriting, pretending we are there. How many blacks do we have in positions at the Tax Commission's office? How many do we have in the Tourism and Recreation Department in decision-making positions? How about the blacks in the Transportation Department? How many do we actually have in the Central Office Information Office? Where are we in Oklahoma? These are the things that we must look at. How many blacks do we have on the Water Resources Board? How many? Until those questions are asked, we cannot say we are living the dream, we are hoping the dream. Where are we as black people in Oklahoma? This is a question. This is a question that confronts us. Where are we and where are we going? I do not know. But I know one thing, that wherever we go, we have better make sure that we are going. And those of you that are traveling, you need to go down to the Capital Tire and Supply Company, located in the heart of the Northeast on 23rd and Kelly. I would like for you to go down there, and I would like for you to purchase some of Martin Luther King's tapes. I have a dream, the American dream, a knock at midnight. Name it, and they have it. I would like for you to look at the long list of books that are available. My Life with Martin by Coretta King, Daddy King, Why We Can't Wait. They are all there. The most exciting part of it, as you purchase these books and tapes, the proceeds will go to the Center for Social Change in Atlanta, Georgia. This portion of our program is brought to you by Mathis Brothers, 3434 Northwest Reno, here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The stories around town, we have brought you a report. We have asked for the state president of the NACP, and we are asking Cecil L. Williams to call us. We want him to tell us whether this week we'll be living the dream or hoping the dream. In the meantime, this is the Clara Luper Radio Show. This is a show that you have been waiting for. This is a big show. This is a show. This is your show. Eugene Moore is a 1985 Bachelor of the Year, and I have $150 worth of gifts here for Mr. Moore. I've just received a call that the Bachelor of the Year is working, and I know that's good news for those of you that are looking for a good husband. And I want to say this about the Bachelor of the Year. He's a very handsome, hard-working, intelligent person. Now, Dr. Walker, you've been Bachelor of the Year. How does it feel to be Bachelor of the Year?
Well, Miss Luper, I can say that it was the catalyst to what I'm doing today, because it gave me an opportunity to meet people. It gave me an opportunity to be seen by the people in my profession, and it also gave me an opportunity to get out and to rejuvenate yourself and to be revitalized with the people.
All right, I must tell everyone out in Radio Land, you are no longer a bachelor. Tell the radio audience what happened to you as a result of being Bachelor of the Year.
Well, in being the Bachelor of the Year, Miss Luper, I was met, engaged, and married to a former beauty queen. I would like to say hello to her at the El Reno Nursing Center, and also to some of our good listeners in the El Reno Nursing Center, Brother Davenport, Miss McCoy, and some of the other people there. Hello to all of you.
Well, I would like to say a special hello to all of my friends in El Reno, Oklahoma, and certainly I thank you for the warm reception you gave to Brother President on last Thursday night, when you say that was the best movie that you had ever seen. I would like to thank the people in Enid and Kingfisher and Chickasha that came to see it. I would also like to let you know that Brother President, the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, will be shown at John Marshall High School on Monday night, January 13th at 7:30 p.m.
Also, while you're thanking people, Ms. Luper, let us not forget the people in Oklahoma City, the members of Tabernacle Baptist Church, and my mother, and the number of other supporters that we have locally.
Oh, I would like to thank all of you, and Oklahoma City knows that I'm always grateful. And I know Oklahoma City is going to turn out in large numbers at John Marshall High School. I have with me today a very distinguished young lady, a very talented young lady here on the telephone. And what we try to do on the Clara Luper Radio Show is to tell it like it is. I don't make the news, I only report it. Hello?
Hello?
Would you give me your name, please?
My name is Mrs. Greta M. Jenkins.
Mrs. Jenkins, it's so kind of you to appear on the Clara Luper Radio Show, and I would like to once again express to you my sympathy. You know, your daughter was part of the civil rights movement.
Yes.
And loved Dr. King with a passion.
Right.
One of the most brilliant young ladies that I'd ever seen. She had been for the past years in North Carolina.
That's right, Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Okay, what was she doing there?
She was working at Fort Bragg Civil Service.
Isn't that wonderful?
Mm-hmm.
And then she came to Oklahoma City when?
I moved her and my grandchildren here the 1st of March. She had terminal cancer.
And you moved her back home to Oklahoma City?
Yes.
Okay, after she moved back to Oklahoma City, I know many of her friends were very happy and people were very kind, and I know you want to express your appreciation to the people that remembered you during those dark days and continue to remember you.
Yes, I would like to thank Reverend W.W. Sims and the Wildwood Christian Church and the class of 1965. They did just everything in the world they possibly could, and especially Reverend Gary E. Bender. He stood by her side day and night at the home and at the hospital.
Okay, now, when she came to Oklahoma City, did she join a local church here in Oklahoma City?
Yes, she did. She joined Faith Memorial Baptist Church and was given the right hand of fellowship.
So she was a member of the Faith
Memorial Baptist Church. Reverend M.A. Curry is the pastor.
All right, now, on last week's radio, I reported that her funeral was not held at the Faith Memorial Church, and I reported that she had requested that Reverend Bender would preach her eulogy. Was that true?
Correct.
That is true.
She asked him about a month, and I also told Reverend Bender about a month before she expired. That was her request for him to bring the eulogy.
But he did not.
No. He said that he would not be able to. I talked to Reverend Curry. He asked me to call Reverend Curry, and Reverend Curry said that it would be fine, the way that I made the program out. But that Reverend Bender hadn't coordinated with him first to bring the eulogy, so Reverend Bender said that he would not be able to, and it upset me so much I called my husband at Northeast High School. And then he went over to talk to Reverend Curry, Mr. Willard Jenkins.
Oh.
And I'll let Mr. Jenkins tell you exactly what transpired between he and Reverend Curry, if it's all right.
All right, it's all right.
Miss Luper?
Yes, Willard, how in the world are you?
Oh, fine. How are you?
Okay, I always think of you as a distinguished fireman.
Thank you.
Is this the same Willard?
That's right.
Okay. Okay, Willard, what happened?
After my wife called me at Northeast High School, she was rather upset about the whole thing and getting to understand that Reverend Bender would not be able to bring this message to the eulogy. And she asked me to call Pastor Bender, and I did, at his home. So Pastor Bender gave me the understanding that this could not be done by him, so I wanted to know why. If Pastor Bender couldn't tell me no more that the whole thing was not confirmed by Pastor Curry, so he said, I want you to go to church, if you will, and talk to Pastor Curry, that he, this is Pastor Bender now, was not forced into this action of eulogy, either any ways whatsoever. And so I said, what do you mean by forced into it? He said, well, Brother Jenkins, what I'm trying to say is this. Alexis asked me way before she expired to do this. I said, yes, as a matter of fact. I said, Pastor Bender, I said, Alexis even talked to you about this about a week before she passed away. That's right. And so he said, now what I want you to do now, if you will, is go to the church and talk to Pastor Curry and tell him the honest God truth that you and your wife did not push me into this at all. So I went to the church and talked to Pastor Curry. But when I got there, he was on the phone talking with Pastor Bender. I waited out in the hall a few seconds. Excuse me, please. And after the hall a few minutes, Pastor Curry said, Brother Jenkins, come in and have a seat. And I sat down. He gave me the phones. I said, who is it? He says, Pastor Bender. I said, Pastor Bender Jenkins, yes. So Pastor Bender says, Brother Jenkins, I don't think I'll be able to do this. And so I said, why? He said, I'll have to talk to you later. I said, something's wrong someplace. He said, no, I'll talk with you later. So in the meantime, Hank, I'm getting the understanding true again that Pastor Curry did not want this to go at all. And I said, Pastor, I said, hear me real good now. Alexis asked you faithfully for this. I said, are you turning your back and everything? He said, no, I'm not turning my back. I never turned my back. He called it shortcake. He said, I was shortcake all the way. He said, this is one time, Heck, that he said, one time I cannot go through this at all. I said, okay. I said, now hear me good now. You were not pushed into this. I driven, I kicked, everything like that. He said, well, Brother Jenkins, you're right. He said, I'll talk to you later on about the whole thing. I said, okay. Now, what I'm saying, Ms. Luper, is this. When I was speaking to Pastor Bender on the telephone, I was looking at Pastor Curry pretty well dead in the eye to where he could understand that the wife and I did not push him, as Pastor Bender, into this eulogy idea at all. And so we got off the telephone. I asked Pastor Curry, I told Pastor Curry that something's wrong someplace. I don't understand it. Then Pastor Curry said, well, he should go and preach it. I said, well, I don't think he will. I said, but one thing about it, if he cannot preach the funeral at this church, we'll take it some other place.
Did you take it some other place?
Oh, yes, we did.
And where did you take it?
The whole field to the Wildwood Christian Church.
And at that time, who delivered the eulogy?
Pastor Sims.
Pastor Sims.
As a matter of fact, Ms. Luper, let me say this, please. I called Pastor Sims on the phone from our home. And Pastor Sims says, Jenkins, here's what I want to do. I'll come over and give you all a visit. He did. And he said, now here we are. You're asking services and a favor. I said, yes. He said, now what I have to do is this, is ease the pressure away from what has already happened. I said, in other words, you accept it. Yes, I'll accept it, and carry the whole thing. So I said, then, how about me calling Pastor Bender back, asking him if he would deliver the eulogy? And I called him. He said, no, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I said, why? He said, well, we'll talk to you later. So I told Pastor Sims what the deal was about him not to bring eulogy. So Pastor Sims, well, I'd be glad to.
And he did. He did.
As a matter of fact, it was lovely.
Yes. Well, Mr. Jenkins, what I really wanted to do, and I want to thank you, because one thing that we must do in the news business is to carry the truth.
Ms. Luper, let me say this, please. I have always tried my very best to carry a true face, a true heart and soul. I have no reason to lie to anyone whatsoever. As one person asked me some years back, he wanted to know something. I said, okay. I said, my life is open to you. It's like a book. After you just turn the page anywhere you want to. So anybody want to turn the page in my life, tell them to come on.
Well, let me ask you a question because I soon have to get off the air. Is it true that your wife is now a member of the Wildwood Christian Church?
Well, she joined church there. Yes, that's the answer. Yes, She joined there on New Year's night. Wildwood Christian Church.
How about you? Where are you now?
I'm still in faith, but I'm thinking very, very deep, and not with the heart, feelings at all. But I want to be with my wife.
Okay, it's very kind of you all to talk to me today.
Let me say this, please.
Okay.
I just hope this darn thing won't escalate in my room anymore.
It will not. Well, the truth is out, and you have told your side of it, and certainly I would invite Reverend Curry to tell his if he's interested. Thank you so very kindly for being with us.
What?
Yes. Okay, thank you so very kindly.
Okay, thank you.
This is the Clara Luper radio show. I don't make the news. I only report the news, and when I report the news, I'm certainly going to report it from a great source. I would like to say thank you for being with me during the Clara Luper 515 special. Tell a friend, tell a neighbor, but I'll see you in the celebration, and until then, I go like KBYE off the air. Goodbye now.
According to the rules and regulations of the Federal Communications Commission in Washington, D.C., KBYE now leaves the air. KBYE has been operating on an assigned frequency of 890 kilohertz with a power of 1,000 watts, broadcasting from our transmitter and studios at 2333 East Britton Road in Oklahoma City. We invite you to join us again tomorrow morning when KBYE returns to the air. This is KBYE, Oklahoma City.